हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम टू डेली न्यूज़ एनालिसिस। हम आज के एपिसोड में वो सारे इवेंट्स के बारे में बात करेंगे जो रिसेंटली हुए और आज के न्यूज़पेपर में वो कवर हुए। बिफोर गोइंग इनटू द टुडेज इवेंट्स, वी आई वुड लाइक टू टॉक अबाउट ऑन द मेजर इवेंट्स विच आर गोइंग ऑन। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इससे पहले इन डेली न्यूज़ एनालिसिस वी हैव कवर्ड द डिफरेंट डिफरेंट डायमेंशंस ऑफ यूएस प्रेसिडेंशियल इलेक्शंस। जैसे इंडिया का प्रेसिडेंशियल इलेक्शन यूएस के प्रेसिडेंशियल इलेक्शन से कैसे अलग है। सिमिलरली, यूएस के प्रेसिडेंशियल इलेक्शंस के बाद when the new president Mr. Donald Trump took the oath, what are going to be the new executive orders he is going to sign, चाहे वो इलीगल माइग्रेंट्स को लेकर के हो या इलीगल इमिग्रेशन को लेकर के हो, H1B वीज़ा को लेकर के हो, गल्फ ऑफ मैक्सिको या गल्फ ऑफ अमेरिका की बात हो, तो इन सारे डिफरेंट डिफरेंट इवेंट्स को हमने डेली न्यूज़ एनालिसिस में कवर किया। और उसी के साथ देयर इज़ गोइंग टू बी अ डिफरेंट एपिसोड एंड अ कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव होलिस्टिक अप्रोच टू बियॉन्ड द क्लासरूम प्रोग्राम, जो हमने बियॉन्ड द क्लासरूम प्रोग्राम में इंडिया और यूएस के चेंजिंग रिलेशनशिप और यूएस के प्रेसिडेंशियल इलेक्शंस के बाद में इंडिया और यूएस के कैसे रिश्ते होंगे, इस बारी चीज़ पे बात की। सिमिलरली, in some of the few episodes or in the past few episodes of daily news analysis, we have covered the artificial intelligence as a theme, जिसमें हमने आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस के बारे में बात की कि कैसे उसके चैलेंजेस हो सकते हैं, इंडिया पे उसके क्या इंप्लीकेशंस होंगे विद रिस्पेक्ट टू एम्प्लॉयमेंट, विद रिस्पेक्ट टू स्किल सेट, विद रिस्पेक्ट टू टेक्नोलॉजी, हाउ इट कैन बी अ गेम चेंजर इन द फील्ड ऑफ एजुकेशन, इन द हेल्थ केयर, और हाउ इट इज़ गोइंग टू मेक आवर लाइफ ईजी। बट उसी के साथ आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस को लेकर के भी रिसेंटली एक समिट कंक्लूड हुई फ्रांस में, जहां हमारे प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी ने भी पार्टिसिपेट किया और उन्होंने भी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट बातें आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस को लेकर के कही। इसी आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस की थीम को लेकर के वी आर गोइंग टू हैव अ कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव डिस्कशन। जैसे हमने डेली न्यूज़ एनालिसिस में उन बिट्स एंड पीसेस को कवर किया था या डायमेंशंस को कवर किया था, उसी वाले कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव डिस्कशंस वी आर गोइंग टू हैव दैट कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव डिस्कशन ऑन आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस ऑन दिस अपकमिंग फ्राइडे। सो यू आर ऑल वेलकम टू वॉच दैट बिहाइंड द क्लासरूम प्रोग्राम, ताकि आप आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस के बारे में होने वाले डेवलपमेंट्स को एक कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव और होलिस्टिक चीज़ों से समझ सकें। इससे पहले भी आई हैव डिस्कस कि द ओनली ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ डेली न्यूज़ एनालिसिस इज टू मेक the newspaper simple and well structured for you, that how things are going to be connected to your mains perspective, how things are going to connected to your prelims perspective, and how with respect to one particular theme कैसे डिफरेंट डिफरेंट डायमेंशंस को कवर किया जा सकता है ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम। तो आपको न्यूज़पेपर में वो थीम्स काफ़ी रनिंग लगेगी, जैसे काफ़ी टाइम से इंडिया यूएस प्रेसिडेंशियल इलेक्शंस पे या इंडिया यूएस रिलेशनशिप पे, फिर आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस पे अभी करंट में अपकमिंग टाइप में आप देखेंगे, बिकॉज प्राइम मिनिस्टर इज गोइंग टू विजिट, सो अगेन द इंडिया यूएस रिलेशनशिप इज गोइंग टू बी न्यूज़। फिर उसके साथ साथ में आप देखेंगे कि इंडिया फ्रांस की जो अभी रिसेंट रिलेशनशिप हुई है और उस पर हमने डेली न्यूज़ एनालिसिस में 2-3 दिन पहले भी बात की, सो दैट इज गोइंग टू बी द कंटिन्यूअस। सो ऑन दोज डायमेंशंस और दैट पर्टिकुलर थीम, the dimension of that particular theme can be different, right? So you can connect to those dots if you are going to watch this program on a daily basis, so you are going to get updated on new particular dimensions of the particular ongoing theme. So आज का जो पहला टॉपिक और पहला डिस्कशन है वो बजट फॉर जेंडर इंक्लूसिव विकसित भारत को लेकर के है। So as you know, our finance minister talked about the Viksit Bharat theme, that how India is going to be developed when she was giving her budgetary speech, right? So we are going to talk on this particular theme of Viksit Bharat, but today's article is going to talk about gender inclusive, and for gender inclusivity, how budget is going to be important. So the actual theme is going to be the gender budgeting, which is going to be a part of paper 3 economy, but it is also going to talk about the gender inclusivity, so it is going to be a part of paper 1 also in terms of social issues, or paper 2 of social justice. So in paper 1 of society, you will see that there is a topic of role of women or in organizations, or role of women in women organizations. So that is the theme you can link, and especially in terms of the paper 3, this theme of gender budgeting is going to be mentioned. So कैसे gender budgeting ज़रूरी है gender inclusivity के लिए, और कैसे women का participation ज़रूरी है किसी भी देश की productivity या prosperity के लिए। अक्सर अगर आप हिंदी फिल्मों देखते हैं तो उसमें एक बहुत खूबसूरत लाइन और डायलॉग हुआ करता था, किसी भी सफल आदमी के पीछे किसी वुमेन का या किसी लेडी का हाथ होता है। तो इसी तरीके से किसी देश की प्रॉस्पेरिटी में, उसके इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ में वुमेन का रोल बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, क्योंकि उनका पार्टिसिपेशन अगर रहा मेन के इक्वल या फिर मेंस के बराबर या किसी अदर जेंडर्स के बराबर, तो उसकी ग्रोथ और उसकी इकोनॉमिक प्रॉस्पेरिटी हमेशा शानदार होगी, राइट. सो वी आर गोइंग टू टॉक ऑन द थीम ऑफ द जेंडर इंक्लूसिविटी विद टेकिंग इन कंसिडरेशन द जेंडर बजटिंग, एंड दैट इज गोइंग टू बी द फॉर द विजन ऑफ विकसित भारत. So that was in news recently. That is why there is going to be article which has came, right. So let's see. So let's discuss this topic in detail. But before discussing that topic, let us see what are going to be the previous year questions which have been asked. First is going to be examine the role of gig economy in the process of empowerment of women in India. So first question which is going to be linked with respect to the role of women or women empowerment or women participation in economic growth, that how the gig economy is going to play an important role, right. Second question is going to be women empowerment in India needs gender budgeting. What are the requirement or status of the gender budgeting in Indian context? So there are two questions which have been asked in this on this particular theme in the previous year, जिसमें पहला वाला क्वेश्चन थोड़ा सा इंटरलिंक्ड है और दूसरा वाला क्वेश्चन अगर आप देखेंगे तो दैट इज गोइंग टू बी अ डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चंस ऑन जेंडर बजटिंग, राइट. So if with respect to, if I talk in terms of defining the gender budgeting, I can easily define that it is going to be a tool which is going to be used by the government, that how the allocation of the resources in the budget is going to implement the vision for gender equality, or it is going to boost the women's participation in the economic growth. So कैसे हम अपने resources को allocate कर रहे हैं budgetary mechanism से, so that the other genders or women are going to be play an important or crucial role, so they also get a boost so that they can also contribute in the economy. और जैसे ही उनका इकोनॉमी में पार्टिसिपेशन बढ़ेगा वैसे वैसे इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ बढ़ेगी और उसी तरीके से किसी भी देश की प्रॉस्पेरिटी बढ़ेगी. सो दिस इज गोइंग टू बी द होल कॉन्सेप्ट. It is in India specifically gender budgeting is going to be introduced in 2005 and 2006, but उससे पहले भी gender budgeting या gender specific allocations of resources होते रहे, right. So if I talk with respect to the key takeaways or what are going to be the key highlights of this particular article, that in Union Budget 2025 and 2026 it prioritizes 4 key population group. So सबसे पहले इस यूनियन बजट की स्पीच में 4 पॉपुलेशन ग्रुप्स को स्पेसिफिकली मेंशन किया गया और उनकी प्रायोरिटीज के बारे में बात की गई. पहला द पुअर, सेकेंड यूथ, थर्ड फार्मर एंड फोर्थ इज वुमेन. So poor, youth, farmers and women, they are going to be divided into these particular 4 groups, और ये 4 ग्रुप्स के बारे में स्पेसिफिकली प्रायोरिटी बेस्ड बातचीत की गई और उनके लिए क्या एलोकेशन ऑफ रिसोर्सेज किया जा सकता है इस बारे में बात की गई. सेकेंड, इट एम्स टू अचीव जीरो पॉवर्टी, यूनिवर्सल गुड क्वालिटी एजुकेशन, 100% skilled labor and 70% female economic participation of women. So if we talk about the Viksit Bharat Developed India vision, it is going to constitute majorly 4 components. First component is going to be zero poverty, second is going to be universal good education, third is going to be 100% skilled labor and fourth is going to be 70% female participation इन द इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटीज और इकोनॉमिक पार्टिसिपेशन. तो इन 4 चीज़ों के बारे में बातचीत की गई और इन्हें बोला गया दीज आर गोइंग टू बी द 4 पिलर्स ऑफ विकसित भारत विजन. सो इफ समबडी इज गोइंग टू आस्क यू व्हाट आर गोइंग टू बी द 4 पिलर्स ऑफ विकसित भारत, फर्स्ट इज गोइंग टू बी जीरो पॉवर्टी, सेकंड इज गोइंग टू बी यूनिवर्सल गुड क्वालिटी एजुकेशन, थर्ड इज गोइंग टू बी स्किल्ड लेबर एंड फोर्थ इज गोइंग टू बी फीमेल इकोनॉमिक पार्टिसिपेशन. So these are going to be the 4 pillars for the Viksit Bharat, that is the vision for the developed India, right. So these are the 2 pointers which were specifically mentioned in the budget speech. That is why we are going to talk about the role of the woman and how gender budgeting can play an important role in gender equality or in bringing the gender equality, right. So once we go about this gender budgeting, if I go in terms of the definition, it is a strategy that includes gender consideration in the budgetary process. So as I told you how the allocation of the resources we are going to make in terms of making the female, as I told you how the allocation of the resources is going to be an important key factor with respect to bringing the gender equality. So it is going to taking that gender consideration in the budgetary process, and it involves analyzing an allocation of budgetary resources in a way that addresses the specific needs, and it prioritizes women and girls and promote gender sensitive policies and program. So that is going to be one of the definition in terms of gender budgeting, and as I told you it is going to be introduced in 2005 and 2006. ऐसा नहीं है कि इससे पहले जेंडर इक्वालिटी को लेकर के या वुमेन्स के पार्टिसिपेशन को लेकर के कोई बातचीत नहीं हुई. जैसे इफ यू रिमेंबर द और बिफोर एलपीजी रिफॉर्म्स और even after LPG reforms, if you see some of the constitutional provisions, right, especially in the participation of local self government, so you see there is going to be the reserved seat specifically with respect to the women, so that they can also play an important role in the decision making at the tier 3 government, right. Similarly, after the LPG reforms, liberalization, privatization and globalization, majorly it is going to be seen as an economic change or economic transition. But if you see the impact with respect to the women participation or labor force participation of women in the new sectors which are going to evolve after the LPG reforms, be it the hospitality sector, be it the banking sector, be it the finance sector, be it the education sector, be it the service sector, in all these sectors you are going to see that the women got a good opportunity or a new opportunities to participate in the economic activities. So especially after 10 years down the line or 15 years down the lines, when this LPG reforms are going to be fully functional and you are going to see the outcome of this LPG reforms. So by 2005 or 2008 you are going to see the labor force participation of women, especially into the formal sector or organized sector, or these sectors are going to increase. Before the LPG reforms, these sectors were not that evolved in India. So once these sectors are not evolved, female didn't got that much opportunities because the sectors were very much restricted. There were no BPOs, no ITs, no hospitality sector, no banking sector, because the privatization of the banks or new banks or global banks were not functioning in India at that level, be it the finance sector. So these are the sectors which opened new avenues for women, or especially to a woman, to participate into the organized sector, right. So moving forward with respect to the significance of gender budgeting, that how gender budgeting play a crucial role with respect to the women participation in economic activities as well as bringing the gender equality. So first it is going to see that improved female labor force participation, which has improved 33%, which was in 21 to 22 to 42% in 23 to 24, moving closer to a global average of 47%. So if we see 47% is going to be the global average as the International Labour Organization, and we are inching towards, because our current female labor force participation is going to be 42%, which is much above than the 33% 2 years back. So that is going to be a good growth, you can say, or a progressive indicator with respect to female labor force participation. Secondly, so as we talk about the entrepreneurship of the women, we see 20.5% of MSMEs are going to be womanly owned. So that is going to be a progressive indicator with respect to owning or participating in economy as an entrepreneur, right. So that is going to be a very important indicator, because कई बार women को लेकर के ये social taboo हो सकता है कि वो decision making उतनी अच्छी नहीं कर सकती हैं, या जैसे हमने इससे पहले भी बात करी थी कि वुमेन का रोल स्टेम में कैसा है और गवर्नमेंट ने क्या क्या इनिशिएटिव्स लिए हैं टू इंक्रीज देयर पार्टिसिपेशन इन द फील्ड ऑफ साइंस, टेक्नोलॉजी, इंजीनियरिंग एंड मैथमेटिक्स. सो दैट इज अ वेरी प्रोग्रेसिव इंडिकेटर, बिकॉज 27 million people which are going to be employed in these MSMEs are going to be owned by women. Next is going to be enhanced economic participation of women, be with respect to the skill set, be with respect to the entrepreneurship, or be with respect to their role into the decision making, right. So these are going to be some of the new studies or new data which have came up, specifically talking with respect to their female labor force participation, which had increased 42%, and it is going towards the or inching towards the global average of 47%. That is one data. And second data which you can see, 20.5% of MSMEs, which is going to give the employment to 27 million of people, right. So these are the two major pointers which are going to be mentioned in today's article, right. Moving further, that what are going to be the recent steps which are taken by the government of India. So first is going to be gender budget is going to increase by 8% from 6.8%. So it is going to be an increase of 1.2%, which is a very big number, right, because this is going to be just the percentage. So 8% of allocation of the total budget is going to be towards prioritizing the women, prioritizing their needs, to make them more skilled, to make them more participate into the economic activities. Overall allocation currently stand up around rupees 4.49 lakh crore for pro women program. So as I told you, it is going to just the number in terms of the percentage, but if you see the total allocation, it is going to be 4.49 lakh crore. देर आर गोइंग टू बी अदर मिनिस्ट्रीज, जैसे इससे पहले हो सकता है कि वुमेन को एम्पावरमेंट के लिए मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ सोशल जस्टिस या मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ वुमेन चाइल्ड वेलफेयर right? So these type of ministries are only going to take in the initiative. For example, if you see the UPSC form also, in the last line of every page, it is going to show that UPSC is very much open towards the women empowerment or gender inclusivity, right? So similarly, additional ministries which can be a more of a conventional or traditional ministries such as railways, sports, shipping, pharmaceutical, land resources, they also have incorporated gender responsive budgeting, right? So that women can also play an important role in these particular ministries. So these are going to be some important developments which article mentions, specifically talking about the 1.2% of increase, which is going to be the budgetary increase allocation, and in terms of the number, it is going to be 4.49 lakh crore rupees. So now moving further with respect to investing in technology and digital skill. So in some of the previous videos, if you are watching of DNA, there is going to be a discussion with respect to artificial intelligence, that how it can be a game changer with respect to employment. हो सकता है आपको ऐसा लगे कि it is going to take all the employments, but it is also going to generate new employments which is going to require some new skills. For example, when computer or digital or IT technology is going to come in India, it is going to make the life easy, because there is going to be a lot of manual work which now can be computerized or digitalized, but it means कि manual work is going to convert it into some of the digital skill based work, right? So that is why learnings of languages or learning of database or learning of basics of computers become necessary. Similarly, artificial intelligence can create some new jobs which are going to be more skill based job. So similarly, government of India allocated 600 crore budget under AI mission and establishment of Center of Excellence for AI Education, which is going to emphasize specifically the role of technology to empowering women. जैसे Government of India has invested a lot in bringing women participation increase in the field of STEM. Similarly, Government of India has initiated or took a step to allocate 600 crore budget rupees for India's AI mission, which is going to establish a center of excellence for AI of education, which is going to empower, or that mission is specifically to empower or skill the women, right? So that is another step. Next, moving with respect to the challenges, as you know, when it comes to the challenges, you can always think of the social challenges because of their safety, because of the patriarchal mindset. So that can be one. Secondly, one of the major challenge that women are majorly associated with unorganized sectors, right? Because as you see, when the participation rate of labor force participation in India is going to be, maximum participation is going to be linked to unorganized sector, and very less participation is going to link to organized sector, right? So when we talk about the gig economy, as the question was also asked, gig economy is going to be based on economy where there are going to be contractual jobs or such jobs which look like organized but they are not actually organized. Imagine a delivery boy who is working with any of the platform of the e-commerce or delivery app. That particular delivery boy might be looking like an organized sector because he is wearing the brand name of a t-shirt, but actually that person do not have any social security, right? Because it is more like a contractual based job, right? So gig economy is going to be a major role, which gig economy plays a very much important role in this new gig economy era, because बहुत सारे लोग जो अनऑर्गेनाइज सेक्टर में हैं उनके पास कोई सोशल सिक्योरिटी नहीं है. So keeping in mind this scenario, Government of India launched e-Shram portal, which is going to make people register on this particular portal, so that the people from the unorganized sector can also be covered under the safety net of social securities, right? So that is going to be a very major step. So when we talk about the challenges with respect to them, so a lot of women are going to be part of the unorganized sector, or even into the agriculture activities. When you say the lot of women are going to be participated with respect to the backward linkages of agriculture, and they do not have any major role or crucial role to participate into the forward linkages. So that is why participation into the informal workforce and in gig economy, which is going to be one of the major reasons. So Government of India took some of the steps so that they can be covered under the social security net. And secondly, women's participation can increase into the forward linkages of agriculture. What do you mean by forward linkages? That once they are going to play an important role जैसे उनके साथ अगर हम किसान क्रेडिट कार्ड्स की स्कीम्स को वुमेन्स तक पहुंचा सकें, उनका फाइनेंशियल इंक्लूजन बढ़ा सकें. सो इफ वी सी दिस पर्टिकुलर आर्टिकल, it specifically talks about the diversity of economic roles, and in this particular paragraph recognizing women's role into diverse economic role, particularly into agriculture, entrepreneurship, employment. For example, simplifying documents requirement for economic and social security provisions such as delinking kisan credit cards from land ownership. जैसे लैंड ओनरशिप से अगर हम किसान क्रेडिट कार्ड को डीलिंक कर दें तो लैंड ओनरशिप हो सकता है कि कई बार मेल मेंबर के नाम पे हो, तो फीमेल किसान क्रेडिट कार्ड्स को का जो यूटिलाइजेशन किया जा सकता था वो नहीं कर पा रही हैं. तो अगर हम इसको डीलिंग कर दें तो वुमेन कैन ऑल्सो पार्टिसिपेट इनटू द किसान क्रेडिट कार्ड, और दे कैन ऑल्सो पार्टिसिपेट इनटू द फाइनेंसेस, और दे कैन ऑल्सो टेक लोन्स, एंड दे कैन ऑल्सो प्ले एन important role in the agriculture, or they can start some new business also, right? So this theme can also be linked to the role of the women with respect to self help groups. जैसे आप सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप्स के बारे में जब भी आप गवर्नेंस और सोशल जस्टिस में पढ़ते हैं, सो यू आर गोइंग टू सी अ लॉट ऑफ केस स्टडीज वेयर वुमेन आर गोइंग टू प्ले एन important role in forming that self-help groups. So these can be the major way forward which we can look forward to in bringing the change of women's participation into the economic activities. So this actually mentions about the way forward of the women, or how the women's roles can change. So last paragraph talks about the different diversity of the roles, and women are not only going to restricted to the unorganized or the gig economy, or playing their role in some of the very specific formal or organized sector. So their role can enhance. Secondly, when we talk about the labor codes, right, or when we talk about the gender pay parity, so these are going to be the interlinked themes which are going to be which we can discuss, right? So providing the social security, or which are we are going to providing the gender pay parity, or providing the labor codes, or providing the facilities or leaves, for example paternity leaves and maternity leaves, right? So this kind of mindset, so these kind of steps can be taken so that our policies can be framed. So actually whatever gender budgeting or allocation of the resources is going to be done to bring the gender equality can actually be implemented in an effective manner, right? So this is going to be the major challenges and the way forward which we can look forward to make this gender inclusivity more. So actually this particular theme or topic talks about three major things. Firstly, the vision of the Viksit Bharat, that is going to be built on 4 pillars. Then how the role of women is going to be play a crucial role in the gender equality also, as well as the economic prosperity of the society as well as the country. Third topic, which is, or the third dimension, which is going to give some of the data with respect to the gender specific participation or labor force participation, and next is going to be the what are going to be the challenges and look forward, right? Next, if there is going to be any practice question, India's target to increase women economic participation to 70% by 2047. As we have discussed that currently we are inching towards the global average, but our aim is going to be 70% by 2047 under the Developed India or Viksit Bharat vision. Discuss the current status of women's participation in economic activities and what kind of policy initiatives which are going to be taken by the government of India, and what are going to be the challenges. So this question talks about three major dimensions. Firstly, it was going to talk about the current status, then it is asking about the policies or initiatives, and third it is asking about the challenges. So you can attempt this particular question and see how much you have learned from this particular theme. Okay, so that is our first topic or major topic of today's discussion, where gender equality through the women empowerment or through the gender budgeting, and looking forward or inching towards the goal of Viksit Bharat, right? So let's move to our next topic, that is IMEC project. अभी इसके बारे में इसलिए बात हो रही है क्योंकि अभी रिसेंटली प्राइम मिनिस्टर इज वेंट टू फ्रांस. सो दिस इंडिया मिडिल ईस्ट यूरोप कॉरिडोर that is going to gain some momentum because some developments are going to come in the future times. Actually, this project was conceived during the last G20 meeting that happened in New Delhi. So we are going to discuss some of the major pointers, right? So if you see today's article on this, that India and France are going to announce that they would continue to work closely on implementing India Middle East Europe corridor, and this project proposed to connect India to Europe through sea and land routes, right? So through sea, rail and land routes, this is going to connect Europe and Asia, and specifically India. So with respect to connecting the food basket to the energy basket, because it is going to transit through the Middle East, right? So it is going to be important with respect to prelims also, or if the scope of the question is going to be in the Indian Oceanic region or geopolitical scenario, or taking the BRI initiatives of China. So the theme can be on micro prospects also, right? So let's see what this article is going to talk about. So as I tell you, India and Middle East Europe Economic Corridor, it was conceived at the G20 summit in New Delhi, which happened in September 2023, and an MOU was signed between India, US, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Germany, and France, and Italy, and EU. So India, US, Saudi Arabia, UAE, France, Germany, Italy, and EU to develop the India's Middle East a Europe economic corridor, and it will comprise all of rail connectivity, shipping lines, high speed data cables. That is very important with respect to the connectivity, because we mostly think that the connectivity is going to be in the food security terms or in terms of energy terms, but it is also going to include high speed data cables and energy pipelines. As I was telling you, that it is going to connect the food baskets to the energy basket. And what is going to be the objective? The objective is to enhance the economic growth through the improved connectivity among the Asia and Arabian Gulf and Europe. So in terms of the continents, Asia connecting to the Europe via the Middle East, that is going to be the Arabian Gulf, and which focuses on strengthening manufacturing, enhancing food security, and third, optimizing supply chains, right? So these are going to be the three major objectives, and it was actually came into existence or conceived into G20 summit that happened into India in New Delhi in September 2023. So that is the one thing which you have to remember. Secondly, what is going to be the objective? Third, it is going to have a rail and the shipping connectivity, or land or ship connectivity, and it is going to include the high speed data lines and energy pipelines, right? So if I see, or if I want to show you the major map, that how it is going to connect. So actually it actually comprises of two major components. The first is going to be the eastern corridor, and second is going to be the northern corridor. When we talk about the eastern corridor, it is going to connect India with the Arabian Gulf. So India to Arabian Gulf, and from Arabian Gulf there is going to be the northern corridor, which is going to connect to Europe. So this is going to be known as eastern corridor, this is going to be known as northern corridor. So this corridor is going to connect Gulf to the region, and as we have discussed, this incorporates similar transportation infrastructure, including rail to ship and links road networks, right? So if I show you this particular map, how it is going to connect. So this is going to be the Mumbai, where the first point of connect is going to start, and this is going to showcase the sea route, and this is going to showcase the land and the rail route. So it is going to connect to the Middle East in the UAE, then into Saudi Arabia, then Haifa, a very important, into the Israel, and then entering into the Greece and Europe further, right? So this is going to be the portion of the one corridor, and then the northern corridor is going to start from Middle East, connecting to the further interiors of Europe, connecting to Italy, France, Germany, right? So one of the major name Marseille, because Prime Minister has also visited, and our first consulate is also going to start in that city. So that city is going to be the opening point for this economic corridor in the France, right? So we will talk about that city also, but that is going to be the major roadmap, or that is going to be the major map, that how the connectivity is going to happen. So what you have to remember in this particular news, firstly, what is going to be the objective, second, how, when it was conceptualized, third, to which of the major countries or continents it is going to pass, what are going to be the two major components, first is eastern corridor and second northern corridor, and then a very important, that which are going to be the major ports where it is going to get connected. So firstly in India, Mundra port, second Kandla port, and third the Jawaharlal Nehru port trust. So these are going to be the three ports which are going to be connected. In Middle East, Jebel Ali, Abu Dhabi, UAE, Fujairah. Then as well as in terms of the Saudi Arabia, there are going to be any port, for example Ras Al Khar ports into Saudi Arabia, then Fujairah port into UAE, as we have spoken about, then Haifa port in Israel, as I told you, a very strategic location to connect the Middle East to the further Europe. Then in Europe, it is going to connect Messina in South Italy and Marseille in France. So this particular city or this particular location was in news, as you have seen that Prime Minister visited this and first consulate is going to be established in this city, and Piraeus force in Greece, right? So these are going to be the three important ports which are going to be in there. So there can be a match the following kind of question, where you can have one side there is going to be ports, other side there is going to be the city name, or it is going to have the country name. So you have to match this particular following, right? So these are going to be the roadmap or how this interlinkage is going to happen. Next, so as I told you, this particular map is going to showcase how this particular corridor is going to function. Next thing, which is going to be a practice question for you, you can comment. As I was telling you, one side you are going to have the port, another side you are going to have the country. For example, Marseille, for example, Ras Al Khar, for example, Haifa. We have just spoken about these particular ports. So kindly comment your correct answer in our comment section. ठीक है, so हमको क्या याद रखना है? पहला, when it is going to be conceptualized, which major countries it is going to surpass, which are going to be the major ports which are going to be connected, these ports are located in which cities and which countries. So these are the three major things. And last, what is going to be the objective of this particular IMEC, right? India, Middle East, Europe corridor. So that is going to be relevant for prelims. If it is going to be in macro question और IR में एक थीम और या फिर थोड़ा सा मैक्रो एस्पेक्ट्स में देखें, सो हो सकता है IOR के रीजन को लेकर के या फिर काउंटर चाइना को लेकर के या BRI की पॉलिसीज को लेकर के क्वेश्चन कैन बी क्लब्ड, right? So this is going to be an important topic because it was recently conceptualized and Prime Minister is going to talk about on this. ठीक, moving to the next, as I was telling you, Marseille is going to be the city which is going to be in news because of multiple reasons. Firstly, the one of the major important reason that AI Action Summit, which I was telling in the opening introduction, that AI Summit has actually happened into the France, and on this particular summit there is going to be a session on Beyond the Classroom. You all can watch on this upcoming scheduled time. Secondly, when I talk about the India and France relationship, so there are other dimensions which we have already covered into our daily news analysis, that how India and France are going to be important with respect to the defense sector, with respect to the technological, in the cultural and political. So as you know, we share the cultural values as well as the republic values with the France, and in our Republic Day parade, the chief guest is also going to be Mr. Macron. He has participated into the Republic Day parade also. So how our different dimensions are, or how these particular themes are linked with respect to India-France relationship, that we have covered in our DNA classes or in our DNA sessions. So you can all watch these particular themes. And with respect to AI, there is going to be the Action Summit which actually happened. It happened into the historical city of Marseille. Secondly, it is going to be the connecting port in France, that is going to be the opening via this particular port to the France, right? Talking about the IMEC, India, Middle East, Europe corridor. Next, we have inaugurated our Indian consulate into Marseille. So my question is, what is going to be the difference between consulate and embassy? That you should comment in our comment box, right? So that is why this particular city is going to be news. मैप में इसकी जोग्राफिकल लोकेशन क्या है, आसपास में मेजर कनेक्टिंग सिटीज़ कौन सी हैं, कोई मेजर ओशियन है या कोई मेजर सी है, दैट यू शुड लुक फॉरवर्ड टू, राइट? So next, just giving you a brief about the Marseille, that it also served as a base for Indian troops during World War I. Secondly, it is a port city, that means it is going to be located near some water body in southern France and on the Mediterranean coast, right? So it is going to open into the Mediterranean coast. Secondly, it is going to be a port city, so definitely very much important for economic activities or trade or industry, right? So as you know, in the Gujarat also, or in the Mumbai also, so we all the coast cities or all the cities which are located on our coastline play a very important role in the trade and economic boost. So similarly, this is going to play an economic importance because it is a port city. Next, as talking about the history, it is one of the oldest cities of the France, and linked to India, it is served as a base for Indian troops. And as we are going to inaugurate our consulate, it is going to be a historic moment for strengthening India-France cultural, economic and people-to-people ties, right? So that is a bit about the Marseille city. The only homework or the only thing which you can see, its geographical location, where it is going to be situated in the map, right? So with reference to the recent consulate opening in the France, consider the following statement. It was opened in the city of the Paris, that is the first statement. And second, Marseille, a city in France, has also served a base for Indian troops during both of the world wars. So that is the question for you. You can comment the correct answer in the comment box, right? So moving towards the next topic, that is Einstein ring. So as the name suggests, it must be on the name of the famous scientist Albert Einstein. Or Einstein ring क्या है? It is going to be a ring of light that forms around a massive celestial body, and that is going to because of the phenomena of the gravitational lensing, right? So recently a European Space Agency has discovered this Einstein ring. That is why it is going to be news, and the name of the telescope which actually discovered is going to be the name of Euclid telescope, right? So it is going to be there by, or it is going to be used by European Space Agency, or name of the telescope is Euclid telescope. So if we go into this particular article, we see that European Space Agency has discovered, or is that space telescope has discovered an Einstein ring around a galaxy some 590 million light years from the Earth. So as you know, light year is going to be the measurement of the distance, right? So that is one news. Secondly, when we talk about the Einstein ring, so it is going to be a ring that may or form around the dark matter or galaxy or a cluster of galaxies, right? So it is going to be a form because the light is going to be bent, right, along a celestial body, and that is going to be formation of a light around a celestial body. So अगर इसको थोड़ा सा basic detail में समझना हो, so we can study with this particular thing, that it is going to be a ring of light around a form of the dark matter, galaxy or a cluster of galaxies, and it is going to be occur because of a gravitational lensing. What is going to be gravitational lensing? So gravitational lensing is going to be a phenomena because of the presence of a one particular celestial body, and around this celestial body the gravitational field is going to be created. So the light which is going to be coming from another far distance any of the celestial body is going to bend around this particular body or this particular celestial body because of the gravitational field, and bending of light is going to be known as the gravitational lensing phenomena, right? So this is the phenomena which is going to give the rise of the Einstein ring, and that is, it is correctly mentioned, is a phenomena that occurs when a massive massive object bends lights, distorting and magnifying the image of the distant object, right? And in this particular case, that particular galaxy or that particular major celestial body is going to be NGC 65005. So if somebody is going to ask you a question, recently NGC 6505 was seen in news, it is related to which of the following? So you must know this answer, right? So as this particular article also suggests, or if you read that by in this case the recently discovered NGC 6505 was the gravitational lens which distorted and amplified the light coming from a distant unnamed galaxy located 4.442 billion light years away, right? So that is going to be there. And why is this Einstein rings is going to be very much important? Because they are going to help to discover that how universe is going to be formed, about the dark matter जिसके बारे में बहुत कम knowledge है, right? तो इसके बारे में अगर आप देखें तो रेयर आइंस्टीन रिंग इज गोइंग टू बी डिस्कवर्ड अराउंड NGC 656 which is going to be 590 million light years away, and it was discovered by European Space Agency by using the telescope Euclid Space Telescope, right? And if I talk about the origin of the name, as I told you, it must be related to the Albert Einstein who gave the famous theory of relativity, which predicted that light could bend around the objects across the cosmos, right? So it is a very rare phenomena. It is less than occurs less than 1% of the galaxies have Einstein ring, right? So significance, as I was telling you, that it is going to be because of the dark matter research, right? क्योंकि उससे यूनिवर्स काफ़ी और मेजर ऑफ द जो टोटल मैटर है उसमें डार्क मैटर का 85% कॉन्स्टिट्यूट करता है, बट डार्क मैटर के बारे में या डिटेल्स के बारे में अभी उतनी जानकारी नहीं है. सो इट इज़ गोइंग टू हेल्प विद रिस्पेक्ट टू द रिसर्च ऑफ डार्क मैटर्स, देन स्टडिंग डिस्टेंट गैलेक्सीज, देन स्टडिंग अबाउट द यूनिवर्स एक्सपेंशन, दैट हाउ द यूनिवर्स इज expanding, right? So that is the basic about the Einstein ring which you must remember, right? Talking about a practice question, consider the following statement with respect to Einstein ring. पहला, they are visible to the naked eye. So, actually they are not going to be visible to the naked eye, and they can only be observed using a space telescope. So, I gave you a hint of this particular answer, that they are going to be not visible by the naked eye. Second, they are an example of the gravitational lensing, and less than 1% of galaxies have Einstein ring. So, now if you have watched this particular video properly, so you know about these two statements, kindly comment the correct answer in the comment box, right. सो आइंस्टीन रिंग के बारे में हमें क्या क्या पता होना चाहिए कि इसका मेजर ओरिजिन क्या है, इसका मेजर सिग्निफिकेंस क्या है, ग्रेविटेशनल लेंसिंग का फिनोमेना क्या होता है, और अभी कौन से वाली गैलेक्सी, कौन से वाले कॉस्मिक ऑब्जेक्ट की वजह से, दैट इज NGC 6506, इसकी वजह से जो ग्रेविटेशनल लेंसिंग हुई, और देन देयर इज गोइंग टू बी द फिनोमेना ऑफ आइंस्टीन रिंग. सो दीज आर द बेसिक थिंग्स विच यू मस्ट नो बाय दिस पर्टिकुलर न्यूज़. ओके. So, now moving towards the next topic, that is bird atlas. So, bird watchers and volunteers to develop Hyderabad bird atlas. It is in news for today's particular thing, that is why it can be asked into the prelims part of exam. So, Hyderabad bird atlas is mapping of the bird distribution and monitoring population changes with the help of the volunteers. So, as you know, in our country, bird migration happens in some of the migratory seasons, right, especially into the winter seasons, right. So, that is going to be the first kind of a initiative which has been taken care to map that how this particular migration is happening, what kind of birds are going to come, in which areas they are going to come. So, mapping of this particular bird migration is going to be in the form of bird atlas that is going to be happening in Hyderabad. इससे पहले भी कुछ वाले शहरों में हुआ है, जैसे आप देखेंगे कि इट हैज़ बीन डेवलप्ड इनटू पुणे, मैसूर एंड कोयम्बटूर, एंड इट हैज़ बीन taken into the Hyderabad. So, it is the first kind of a initiative which is the bird distribution in Hyderabad to monitor the changes of bird population and important bird areas. For example, they are coming to which kind of land, they are coming to wetlands, they are coming to any particular lake, or they are coming to any other. So, that also when we are going to plan the city, we are actually not interfering, or we are not encroaching those areas, because they are going to be very much ecological sensitive, and these areas do see bird migration, right. So, that is why we are going to map this migration pattern and which of the land usage and where they are coming, right. Apart from Hyderabad, Pune, Mysore and Coimbatore have done their bird atlas, and it is going to be taken by the volunteers. So, there is no particular major agency is going to be involved. So, it is actually a 3 years project, and it is will be conducted 2 times. As I told you, there can be different seasons of migration. So, it is going to be conducted into February and July, so that we can identify the birds and which kind of the regions, or which kind of the regions they are coming. As I told you, they are coming to lakes, they are coming to wetlands, they are coming to open habitat, or they are coming to urban habitats, that is going to be there, right. And the volunteers are going to organize this or prepare this world atlas. So, that is no major agency is going to be involved, right. So, if I ask you a question, that objectives of the bird atlas recently to understand the bird distribution, to monitor the changes in bird population, to identify the important bird areas, and to inform authorities about land usage planning. Now, you can easily answer this and you can comment in that, right. So, I hope that today's DNA program helped you out in terms of structuring or simplifying the newspaper, and to mark out the areas which news is going to be relevant to which subject, and how you should cover this particular news. So, thank you all for watching today's session. We will be coming with the next session tomorrow. Thank you and have a great day.